Hey guys, it's Emma Vigling with TYT Politics coming to you live because I really want to talk about the North Korea situation today quickly, and I wanted to get you as much information as possible. So as of now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard Trump's comments. They've been replayed throughout the day on TV, on social media, surrounding North Korea. So with his arms crossed like this, he said, North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen, he said yesterday at his golf resort in Bedminster, New Jersey. Hey, Bedminster, I know you. I'm from Jersey. That's a really nice area. Hours after Trump spoke, and apparently in response to a military exercise by the U.S. earlier this week, Pyongyang warned that it would carry out a preemptive military strike against the U.S., including the Pacific territory of Guam. Guam, obviously a U.S. territory. It's home to around 160,000 people, and it contains major U.S. military bases. So that was a substantial threat. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson defended Trump's comments, but said that there was no sign that the threat level from North Korea had changed and that Americans should sleep well at night. So apparently Rex Tillerson was attempting to temper some of the comments and the responses made by Trump, because he literally said he would bring fire and fury to North Korea like the world has never seen. Fire and fury, that sounds like you're going to drop a bomb on them and kill hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, this guy is just belligerent. This presumably means Rex Tillerson that the threat level has not changed. I'm assuming he's talking about the last month, because North Korea tested 2 intercontinental ballistic missiles, and the UN has implemented sanctions on them because of it. There was a U.S. intelligence report that said that a small nuclear warhead could fit inside those intercontinental ballistic missiles. So who knows, I mean, the U.S. intelligence has been wrong before, certainly, but that's what the report is saying. The UN Security Council again imposed these sanctions in response, saying that putting the sanctions on exports of coal, lead, seafood, and more, which would take away around 1/3 of North Korea's export revenue. So it's extremely substantial. So while Rex Tillerson says that there is no sign that the threat level has changed, the media isn't treating it that way. By the way, North Korea has been nuts and threatening the U.S. for decades at this point. But apparently there was a long-standing, and not apparently, there was a long-standing military consensus that we should not go after North Korea and not engage in nuclear war with them, obviously, because they could kill Seoul. They could go after Seoul and kill 100,000 people. Remember South Korea? The rest of the people in the U.S. who are banging this drumbeat, but the pundits on TV that talk about this, they don't care about Seoul. They don't care about South Korea. They only care about the U.S. and the white people that live here. But that could be extremely damaging. I mean, they're right across the border. They could certainly reach South Korea. So it's incredibly disheartening to see these warhawk pundits on TV not care at all about South Korea, when the military consensus in decades prior was that we could not provoke North Korea in this way because of South Korea. It goes to show how much we've digressed in terms of our own empathy and our national consciousness about people other than ourselves, because that's what Trump is. He is a racist nationalist, and that's what this has become. So again, CNN is publishing articles with headlines like this beyond their constant cable news coverage. Why it could take months for the US to get ready for war with North Korea? Here's how Hawaii is preparing for a nuclear attack. US missile chief, we absolutely believe we could handle North Korean nuke. So it's all about preparing for war. War is coming. That's what it's all about, because CNN, they get ratings off of fear-mongering. It's really not complicated. This kind of stuff is their bread and butter. It's what gives them ratings. It's what gives them viewers. And a lot of the rest of the corporate media is like that as well. I mean, Fox News, they're already off the handle with this stuff. They've been fear-mongering and doing it one-on-one since their infancy. but MSNBC is on this train as well. By the way, CNN, I'll give them credit, posted one article about how today is the anniversary of the Nagasaki bombing. They didn't say it in the title, but they essentially put a New York Times tweet with one sentence in an article, and the headline was, 72 years ago today, the US dropped an atomic bomb. It didn't say that we killed over 75,000 people in Nagasaki, and it's unbelievable that there is no historical context whatsoever when we talk about the potential nuclear war after a day after Trump made these horrific comments. No one even talks about how we devastated an entire country and killed innocent civilians in the vein of 200, in the vein of almost 100,000, from 75,000 to 100,000. The estimates are really all over the place because we just don't know. Let alone, by the way, we dropped a bomb on Hiroshima, which was 3 days previously. So there's no context whatsoever. We just talk about nuclear war so cavalierly, and the corporate media does not give any context whatsoever. Yet the media, again, they're doing what they did with Iraq. They're not giving historical context in terms of what we did in nuclear war in World War II. But honestly, there was this viral quote that happened with Brian Williams where he essentially said that our job is to scare people. And it seemed like this smoking gun of like, yeah, that's what the media is saying. But he actually said, our job tonight is to scare people to death on this subject so the talk isn't as free as it is about preemptive or a surgical military strike. So yeah, it's scary to have someone in the media talk about how their job is to scare people, but he was essentially saying, we don't want a preemptive military strike. We need to scare people to say, this is what Trump is doing, this is what is real. So I'll side with Brian Williams on that, even though the quote is so juicy and ridiculous and kind of went viral online. Most of the rest of the media has not learned the lesson from Iraq. They're continuing to do the same things, having the same people on, including Lindsey Graham, who in the course of a week has really taken John McCain's war hawkness that he would be normally putting out there in the media and doubled up on it for his old buddy. He's really said some outrageous things, including on some morning shows. So he said that there were two scenarios where the US would go to war with North Korea. If they attacked Guam or some other American interest or our allies, he said, oh, okay, so only, it's not a preemptive strike. But then he says, or if they try to keep developing an ICBM with a nuclear weapon on top to hit the homeland. So basically, if they keep doing what they're doing, we go to war. Huzzah! That's Lindsey Graham 101. And this is where he sucks up to Trump. I thought you guys weren't buddy-buddy. President Trump has basically drawn a red line, saying he'll never allow North Korea to have an ICBM missile that can hit America with a nuclear weapon on top. He's not going to let that happen. He added that Trump is not going to contain the threat, he's going to stop the threat. So Lindsey Graham suddenly loves Trump, even though he's said horrible things about him in the past, rightfully horrible, because now he's beating the same drumbeat that Lindsey Graham has been doing for decades at this point. Lindsey Graham never seen a war that he doesn't like. And listen to his even more outrageous quotes after being questioned by Matt Lauer on the Today Show. Last week on the Today Show, Lindsey Graham said this. So Matt Lauer asked him, every military expert says there's no good military option. Lindsey Graham interrupts him and says, they're wrong. There is a good military option: to destroy North Korea's nuclear program and North Korea itself. Wow. And the media just keeps playing it up. And you know what? What would get Trump's poll numbers up? A war. They're desperately trying to get him to be presidential. And in their mind, it's presidential, aka killing a bunch of people. Remember when he dropped that mega bomb in Afghanistan? And I forget which CNN pundit, but they said, this is the day that he became president? Really? The day when you kill potentially like civilians, you become president? What does that mean? How do you define the US presidency? Is it just a belligerent puncher around the world who just exhibits strength by killing people? It's really unbelievable. At least we have, honestly, some corporate Democrats fighting back. You wouldn't believe this. But Dianne Feinstein, even though she's a more hawkish Democrat, has denounced this, saying that North Korea has not halted their pursuit of nuclear weapons, but diplomacy is the only path forward. Feinstein went on to say that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who's currently in Asia, should discuss the reopening of North Korea talks with U.S. regional partners. So even the most hawkish Democrats, Feinstein obviously on the Senate Intelligence Committee, she is as hawkish as they come in the Democratic Party, is saying that we should have diplomacy because provoking North Korea has been not even a thought amongst many on the right for decades at this point. Trump is really actualizing the Kissinger madman theory. If you guys don't know about this, Henry Kissinger said that if you threaten to drop your nuclear bombs on other countries, people will think that you are a madman and that they won't provoke you because they are so afraid of who you are and what you might do. Trump is actualizing this Kissinger theory, so be careful what you wish for. It's funny, Hillary Clinton also praised Henry Kissinger on her on the campaign trail, so that's frightening to say the least, that we have people in both parties that consider Henry Kissinger someone that we should be listening to. So yeah, we'll see if this Kissinger diplomacy madman theory plays out, because Trump is certainly making sure that we see that it could be a reality. I mean, these comments of fire and fury is really depressing and really scary. I don't think that we have seen that at this point nuclear weapons could hit Hawaii or mainland America. We don't have that evidence yet, but it is scary and requires someone with a nuanced perspective who isn't going to just bomb them or threaten to bomb them, where they could go after our allies and kill hundreds of thousands of people in South Korea or Japan or Guam. Trump is not that person. So that's really just an update on what's going on. The media is going to continue to drum this up. The war hawkish Republicans are continuing to do so, even though it seems that Rex Tillerson is somewhat sane. But we have to be very careful, because Trump is in a place psychologically where he is unable to dig himself out of this horrific polling hole. And you know what people do when they are not liked? They go to desperate measures. And you know what puts people's poll numbers right up? It's war. And that's the disgusting reality that we live in right now. All right, guys, have a great day.